He was therefore put under provision of consent, and we must respect regarding corruption. This is a summary of what we're going to see afterwards, right? There was also Abdullah Musada, who was a Yemeni Jew, who spread these rumors and disposed beliefs in Egypt. Now, he became a Muslim de facto, as it was continued clarified, out of de facto, out of hypocrisy. And from what he did spread was that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would return to the dunya, and that since the Prophet was the last of the messengers, Ali would be the one most deserving of the Khilafah, and that man was deserving of his position. So he started to spread. In fact, his followers who ended up killing Rahman, they were called Sabahiyya. So they displayed that they were commanded to committing the evil, and many Egyptians fell into their trap. They also wrote the common people of Basra and Kufa with the word of Iraq, which led to sowing the seeds of dissension, which eventually led to the death of the leader of Islam. Okay, so we're going to continue. Now, this is very important before actually moving along. In terms of the methodology of also knowledge of our regarding the rulers, because what happens is that this story kind of was exactly in this type of purview. This is why the scholars, not of modern times, but of old times, like Abu Hanifa, Ahmad, Shafi'i, Malik, and whoever else, Bukhari, Muslim, etc., they basically have this same type of modus operandi. They have this same type of operation in terms of how they operate with the rulers of the Muslims. So the methodology of Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, even those who are upon what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his companions who are upon Allah regarding the Muslim rulers is as follows. Number one, obedience to Muslim rulers, whether they are righteous or wicked. Not obedience in the wickedness. As a different thing. It is haram to obey in the wickedness. So if a ruler say, I'm going to kill you, run. And that's what they do. Run. If he says, I want to take your wife, find your wife. Because that is obedience in what? Good or bad? Right. Obviously. But in terms of that which is good, the Muslim rulers are obeyed, whether they are righteous or they are wicked, right? And you find that people some happen some Lord Jama'ah, that can be that Muslimin, Babylon Kanu or Fajr or Fujara, whether they are righteous or wicked. And we would see we are current things of some rulers who were extremely wicked or extremely, let's say, sinful, and they ended up opening the way for the Muslims to even conquer lands. You had the example of one of them, and we'll go through them in short, when they reached the Crusades. One of them, he conquered Aleppo. He conquered Halab. And once he conquered Halab, once he conquered Aleppo, they went to Palestine and they went to Damascus until they just take a few. Seriously, just take a few. Basically, within years, he went to take these places. After this ruler conquered Aleppo, he wanted a drinking spree, and he drank himself to death. That was the period. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it to conquer Aleppo. But everybody here had drinking from him. And he wanted a drinking spree and died of drunkenness. Yeah, look at that. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ending. But although he was a wicked ruler, because the people had patience with him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him a means by which the Muslims would be able to take back their territories from the Crusaders and end up conquering Palestine. He was a predecessor to Saddam. Right? Next thing, refraining from openly castigating and revolting against them, as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, if it is that you see from your army or something, فَلَا تُبْدِهِ عَلَى أَبِيَةَ. This is in Bukhari. Do not expose him publicly. Right? Openly castigating. Not if they're in front of him, that they don't castigate. They castigate him if they're in front of him. That's not a problem. And you will see this from the same story of Rahman of Tara and who. But it is a certain Sahaba saw what was going on. They went to Rahman himself and they castigated him, although they were there to him. But they would openly castigate him to the public, as you would see what Abdullah and Sabah and others did. And revolted against them. Because that is totally haram. And that's from Prophet advising them that that which Allah loves and is pleased with, as the Prophet he said, Aminu Nasina. He gave his advice. Billahi wa bi Rasulihi wa li a'immatil muslimin wa li a'immatil muslimina wa a'immatihim. To Allah, the Rasul, and to the Imams of the Muslims and the regular people. Number 4, make a dua for their righteousness. Qudair ibn Iyad, he was asked about who should make dua to. He said, make dua for the rulers. He said, why? If it is that they are righteous, people will be righteous. But if they are wicked, this will not be done. He said, وَلَوْ كَانَتْ لِي دَعْوَةٌ مُسْتَجَابَةٌ لَجَعَلْتُهُ فِي السُّلْطَانِ. If it is that I had a dua that would be answered, I would have made that dua for the Sultan only. Why? Because if we become righteous, alhamdulillah. Right? Number 5, neither hearing nor obeying them when they order sin and transgression. So if they order sin or transgression, it is haram, haram, haram to obey them and not approving of their sins. Right? You find some people online who, they say, well, possibly that so and so country is doing this in order to boost up the economy and get more powerful. Oh, yeah, please, listen. It doesn't matter. Al-Fujur, Al-Ma'siyah. Right? The scholars themselves, they speak against somebody says going on in the other haram, they speak against it. Right? Check the extra Sheikh Marwa, the extra Sheikh Sohaili. Many of them speak against this is going on there. Right? But however, they go and advise the ruler himself face to face. Right? But however, we don't approve of their sins and we don't, what we say, decorate it to the people. This is totally and utterly haram. So you don't go one way where you revolt and you completely castigate, and you don't go the next way where it is that you approve of their sins and you obey them in sin and transgression. Right? And so now they have a middle way, because if you openly castigate and revolt against them, what happens is that, as you will see with the command of the Lord Ta'ala, and other rulers, it creates a power vacuum, and the enemies of Islam come in, and they make real trouble. And especially in this day and age, the enemies of Islam could more than play the food. They jump into your country and do whatever they want, depending on whatever they want and whatnot like that. So we have to be very, very careful about these things. Right. But I mentioned this because this is something very important for us to reflect upon. And number 2, is a recurring theme in Islamic history. Whenever there was a revolt against a Muslim ruler, it never worked out. Never worked out, and it always caused more problems for the Muslims than good. And as Imam Ahmad, he said that basically first step, right, obviously, have patience until you get rest from a Fajr, because you go to them. So have patience until the ruler is a Fajr, is a sinner, is a evil person. Have patience, and he wanted that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring somebody else. Because if you revolt against him, what will happen next? More problems. Now this is a thing of ruler is a Muslim. But if the ruler is like Bashar al-Assad, is a Kafir, so I agree, believes that Ali is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's a different thing. Once it is that the Muslims have the ability and the resources to remove them without causing any bloodshed, then they could do so. Then someone doesn't have a problem. But if they don't have the ability and the resources, then it is haram to remove against them publicly. This is exactly what happened in Syria. Yes, the Muslims didn't have the ability or the resources to really deal with them, and they find that Mashallah, the Syrian resistance, as they are going down, inshallah, I hope that the ones now are sincere. The Syrian resistance was making movements against Assad, they were very successful. And then ISIS come and take everything that the Syrian resistance did. They took all that territory. Because they pronounced all the people of the other Syrian resistance groups, they pronounced them all as Kufa. All. I had their magazines, I was reading through their magazines, like I had about 16 or 17 of their magazines on the flash drive. Unfortunately, my daughter broke the flash drive, so I can't get back, but I wanted the internet the other day, and I can't get back their magazines. That's it, it was called David. I went through all them magazines. ISIS are the biggest bunch of the biggest bunch of liars I've ever seen in my whole life. Because they will put the time here and they will bring you reference. So I'm like, okay, right up with the reference. They even made takfir and technical without bullets. Yeah. They call my kafir and they say you should be killed. They said they made takfir of Pierre-Vogel. Pierre-Vogel is some individuals dawah. Any Muslim famous for giving dawah, they say that they're kufar, they should be killed because they say that Islam is peace. And I think we rob a grocery store and kill the people in the grocery store and whatever they take is not even a spoils of war. I don't know the magazines. Yeah, see people. Crazy people. And they were taking part in it. And Trinidad, unfortunately, Trinidad was the Western country that had the most people per capita. Not most people, as a population. We had the most people per capita in the Western world in ISIS. That's crazy. Going through and whoever else was coming on, I was like, but how this one I produce such crazy people? This one coming and saying, yes, I could have practiced with a Nigerian. I said, yes, I could. And I do it. Brothers who don't know, right? That I know that person personally. I don't know that I involved what kind of relationship I have with that person, right? Come to Nigeria, I said, I could not practice like we did Trinidad. I said, you're not Trinidad, you're not accent in Trinidad, you're not accent for the good Syria. Right? You know, I think, how would do that? So, this is what happens. You know, because they didn't have the necessary manpower and they didn't know how it is that things were moved internationally with the power plays and whatnot. And especially now, it's even more risky to do these things. Yeah. Right. So let us very well in Syria, let us move forward with let's so we're getting up about the murder. So Abdullah ibn Sabah and those who spread the Mima throughout the lands of the Muslims. So as I was mentioning last week, he was going about saying that Ali is supposed to be the true ruler and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going to come back on earth. And what he was doing as well, he was writing to the people of Basra and Kufa. And he was going there as well. So they were going all over the place. So he would go in Basra and say, hey, you hear what's going on in Egypt? Pressure, problems, this, that, with man oppressive and thing. But you're seeing very little here. That he would go to Kufa, and people in Basra suffering. This, yeah. Mastermind. And then he would go back in Cairo, the people of Kufa suffering. So he would, these different regions of the Muslims, he would make sure and bring the people against Rahman radiallahu ta'ala. Now unlike Umar radiallahu ta'ala, who was very strict, Rahman was much more lenient and much more quiet and much more violent. Okay? So what happened is that a lot of people, they kind of took advantage of that now. So groups of them went to Medina the first time, so they went to Medina twice. So he had a group from Basra, from Kufa, and from Egypt. Big groups, right? And Abdullah ibn Sabah was the leader of the group. Dr. didn't know who he was. And he comes to the group and the man says, okay, fine, okay? So they come with a list of complaints. Number one, he burned the Messiah. And remember we were speaking about that last week. Right? And I'll give Ali's reply at the end, right? Number two, he completed his prayer during Hajj. Now what happens is that during Hajj, was done before. You pray 2 rak'ah basically, right? That is the sunnah. Now he prayed 4 rak'ah for Dhuhr and 4 rak'ah for Asr. And I'll explain what happened here. Number 3, he replaced the Sahaba with youths to dominate Islamic regions. He brought the Sahaba. Number 4, he put his own people, his own family in these positions. Banu Umayyah, and as I said, that Banu Umayyah would feature after the Khulafa al-Rashidin, after Ali. Banu Umayyah would for a number of years. From Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala. So, Ali radiallahu ta'ala and who came out and clarified these matters to the crowd. They then that could not making more mischief. So what happened? Ali radiallahu ta'ala, he said, well, he built the other masajid, but we agreed upon what was last revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember, we stated about the Prophet al-Akhirah, the last time when it is that Jibril alayhi salam was revising the Quran, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as a result, we have what we have today. Right. So basically, he said that the order to the Akhirah is what we agree upon, because of the fact that this is the last thing that was said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 2, now, what happened is that Rahman ibn Affan, his intention was to stay in Makkah, was to stay in the precincts in Makkah. So as a result, he prayed 4 rak'ah Dhuhr and 4 rak'ah Asr when he was a video of Arafat. The third thing is that he showed that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam put Osama ibn Zayd in a leadership position even after he died. Osama ibn Zayd was 17 years old when he led a Jaish army against the Romans, and he was only 17. So it's not a problem putting them in positions, right? And so by that time, Ali radiallahu ta'ala took care of these misconceptions. So the people, they realized, okay, this making sense. So they went back. But you had some people who still wanted to make some mischief. So the second time that groups went to Uthman, they came from different Muslim lands, thinking that they wanted different leaders. Now, this was a result of a message, and I will clarify that inshallah. It's very important to show how sometimes people might misinterpret certain things and take things within their own hands. And especially when people on the other side have certain motives, it could blow up into something that, that is not praiseworthy at all. Okay? So what happened is that the people of Egypt, they wanted Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. But you know who did that? Abdullah ibn Sabah as usual. The people of Basra wanted Talha ibn Ubaidullah, and the people of Kufa wanted Ibn Zubayr. And Ibn Zubayr will feature during the Umayyad Caliphate after, I believe it's either during the time or after Yazid. So all of them were rejected. All these people were rejected because actually in the Taqiy's history, he showed that Ali Talha was treated as a myself, they kind of crazy or something like that. Of now. I did not go to go against them. However, when they made it apparent that they will leave in Medina, so they were afraid that they will leave in Medina, they returned claiming that Rahman wrote to the governor of Egypt, right, to kill and crucify those who came to Medina. Now, that person named who wrote that was a person named Marwan ibn Hakam. He didn't mean to cause any mischief, and he saw these people as people who were creating mischief. So basically, as people who would create mischief, he said that that these people should be killed or crucified, etc. like that. Now what happened is that he wrote the message. He sent the camel of Rahman with the servant of Rahman, with the letter, with the seal of Rahman. And Rahman didn't write nothing. Rahman didn't write a thing. Right? So when it is that they started on the road, they say, who are you? They say, well, I'm the servant of Rahman. So then they search him and they find the message. And they was like, oh, what we did is this, what we doing back. Now, and they said the governor of Egypt to kill us. Now, I said it letter, it had to kill Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, which doesn't make any sense. Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr is his son of Abu Bakr Siddiq, which doesn't make any sense because the man would kill him. Right? So, now, they're like, nah. Right? So they go back to Medina now, and they vex. And they're like, okay, here what? One of three things have to happen. First man, either you go, either you hand over Marwan, or you're dead. Three things. Now, most of them didn't want to command that. Most of the people who were in front of, who were by Medina at that time, they didn't want to command that at all. Right? But certain people wanted to do that. That's Abdullah ibn Sabah, these people who became Muslims out of nifaq, out of hypocrisy, they wanted to do that. Alright? So Marwan ibn Hakam made a serious mistake, and he didn't make it on the orders of the Khalifa. He didn't make it on the orders of the Khalifa, and it caused a lot of problems. That's why it's important to basically follow leadership and consult leadership before you go on action. And as you saw with what happened with the battle of Muhammad, the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what it is that the Prophet ordered them to stay on the hill. The people who were firing the arrows to stay on that hill and don't move. Whether we will not lose it. And they still moved. As the same thing here, basically, he thought that by writing the center he would quell the rebelliousness of these people. But it ended up getting worse. And the people who genuinely they just wanted a stop to this kind of craziness ended up being worse. Now what happened is that the governor of Egypt, who was Ibn Salah, he was removed and replaced with Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. Right? So when it says that a man told the people of Egypt, okay, I'm going to replace it with Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, right? And Marwan wrote the letter that Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr is to be killed. You know, everybody was saying, but then he said, that's Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr already going on. But what convinced them is that, look, this is the donkey of Rahman, this is the camel, this is the servant, this is the seed that was in his handwriting. Understand? So we have to be careful of rumors. We have to be very careful of rumors, especially from media companies, Western media companies, and companies from Iran who spread all kinds of things about Muslim countries. Some may be true, 95% are not true, and it is not generally check it out, you know, where they are true. Along with that, so we have to be very, very careful and very diligent regarding certain rumors that are being spread, especially online and social media regarding the Muslims. Sorry. So, Uthman denied that he wrote the message of the law, and all other people didn't believe him and went to surround his house. But he surrounded the meaning of this. So, what happened, and if you think about it, if you see everything, or the Quran, all these different things, and he's denying everything, they're really just lying, understand? But he's supposed to have that trust that he's also about the Rasul or whatever, and he has certain issues and things that share, etc. And he would lie about that. Understand? And he would lie about that. You know? And he was swearing by Allah that he didn't do it. So yeah, I think that kind of serious. But of course, I have people who were inside there would still find the flames and say, okay, yeah, we have to go for it. Right. So this is what happened. So they surrounded Medina from the last day of the Qa'dah to the 12th of the Hijjah. Haram months. You can't tell nobody during their months. Before Haram months or what? The Qa'dah, the Hijjah, Muharram and Rajab. Right? These are the 4 Haram months. So you can't tell nobody. These people who say that they are Muslims, they surround Medina, and now most of them just wanted none of them to either remove themselves from the Khalifa or remove or just give them Marwan ibn Hakam. Right? So they surrounded Medina. No, they were just around. It's not like they were troops and they were just looking to battle. But they were just around the enough for the wild spy and doing whatever they do. From the last days of the Quran, which is a haramat, to the top of the lecture. And it's supposed to be weak and not be around for the Hotel and those house. And even the days of Hajj, yeah, but the days of Hajj, they're doing this. You know? So they prevented from water in the haram master. Even to go to the masjid and they threatened them with murder, of course some of them. In that year, Allah Ta'ala and put Ibn Abbas in charge of Hajj. Okay? And Ibn Abbas, as we know, was children of the Quran. He was a person who was very versed in the tafsir of Quran and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right? So when the majority of the Sahaba left for Hajj, they took their chance to assassinate Uthman radiallahu ta'ala. So plenty of them that Aisha, most of them left for Hajj. Right? And that is there, right? Because they, and I would think that they didn't think that they would actually kill Uthman. Yeah, it's a sacred month, so they think him now, but they just surrounded the house and they just vexed, but they're not kill it. It's a sacred month. I mean, come on. You know, as the Hijjah is Hajj time, is I mean, they must relax, right? Stuff, right? So, this is what they did. So they set fire to the door, where the Prophet was in bed. So they set fire to the door. Time over several words to reach the Prophet and whose house. Okay? What followed was very severe fighting between these rebels and those who defended the man, which would be the son of the Sahaba. So it had very fierce fighting, but this is the whole thing, right? But man knew, and this is the unbelievable thing about the man of the Lord. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to Muhammad, while the Prophet was shaking at one time, he said, stay still over because by you is a prophet, Nabi, or Siddiq, or Shahida. And there are two people who are martyrs, and who are standing there, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. So Uthman knew. Uthman was being telling somebody Sahaba and the slaves, etc., to just leave them alone. And he just said himself to the Quran. You did not Surah Taha, you did not Surah, because he always looked at that. You know this is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was speaking about. Active action. You know that's it. You know, so he already submitted his will to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. He didn't even get up and ready do anything. He knew that this is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from revelation from Allah promised him. That he's going to be a shaykh. And he was ready for it. At 82 years old. 82 years old, let's see, I mean, we're taking all the chaos happening. All the Sahaba, you have Ali defending him, you have Akil ibn Islam defending him, fighting who get part of the fingers cut off, his wife, as you see, his wife got her fingers cut off, etc. And he just did not get happy with the Quran because he was not he knew that it is over. And he did the Sharia, and he was said his last commands with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So an Egyptian named Abdullah, or Yom Jabara, from Bani Sadus, tried to stab Uthman with a sword. Now, I had a person before, his nickname was called Al-Mawt al-Aswad. Al-Mawt al-Aswad, black death. And he was a dark-skinned person, and he was a relative. And what happened is that he was trying to choke him to death, and he wasn't able to do it. Right? I mean, the man in the Quran, the book of the Quran, this Quran, always 82 years old, he can still do something. And this person, Jabara, tried to stop him as well. Right? But the only thing he succeeded in was cutting off what man was as a hand. So he cut off his hand, and the man and who said that this is the first hand that wrote the revelation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. He was one of the first of those who wrote the revelation. This was the revelation of the Quran. From those who wrote the verses of Allah. Musaf fell from his hands. Okay, when it is that he was reading, because his hand was cut off, he was suffered. So his wife Naila then came to defend him while one of the criminals cut off the fingers. Right? I mean, one of them, pointed to him and complimented her, and the man said, "Come and kill the man." Right? You have to do that. Right? But what happened is that eventually, when man, the Lord Ta'ala and who was killed, and this was on the Friday, 12th the picture, 65 after the hijrah. Right? So he was killed during the days of Hajj. On a Jummah, he was also fasting as well. Right? And he was died reading the Quran. Right? And he died as a martyr. Right? But the hijrah 65 after the hijrah. Now what happened is they had some chaos after because these people were still around. So some of these Sahaba of the Lord Ta'ala, and it's reported that the father of Imam Malik, that he himself had to bury the man of the Lord Ta'ala. Right? So he was very quickly between Maghrib and Isha in secrecy. Right? Because the Khawarij were promising to stone his body and bury him in the graveyard. What was the graveyard was that? The graveyard of the Jews. Right? So this is from where the Khawarij would have been started to rise, started to make takfir or started to make call people kafir based upon nothing whatsoever. Not based upon the kafir, not based upon the political prisoners of Islam, but they would call Rahman of Ta'ala and kafir, and they would also fight Ali of Ta'ala and also one of the Khawarij, Abdullah bin Munjan, who you would see, you will get to know inshallah Ta'ala. He is the one who killed Ali of Ta'ala, and he was a Quran teacher who was praised by Allah because of Ta'ala. Of course, he had all kinds of parents, but at that time he got engrossed in certain incorrect beliefs, and as a result of that, he ended up being the killer of Ali. When it is that he was killing Ali, he was protecting the Quran. He was killing Ali. That's why it's really right? After a small group of companions carried him to the gravesite, and he was prayed over by Zubair ibn Awam. This is a particular some say different things, but if you say that from the different reports he has seen, he was buried by Zubair ibn Awam. He was prayed over by Zubair ibn Awam, and he was the first to be buried in Al-Baqi. So the spot he was buried in, he was the first man to be buried in. Like what we call Jannat al-Baqi, like if it was in Masjid Medina, on the left side, it has a complete view site and it has a meeting and stuff like that. Right? But man of the Lord Ta'ala, who was the first man to be buried? First person. And that is a Muawiyah of the Lord Ta'ala, who he was the first man to make the walls around Jannat al-Baqi. And also he put a lot of emphasis on that. So as you would understand from this, afterward, it had a fair amount of chaos in the Muslim world. And because you had this kind of chaos, a lot of the Muslim armies were forced to withdraw from where they were and ended up fighting in a lot of these civil wars that happened as a result. And again, you will see the role of people who will bring that carrying tears between people, how it is that will affect the Muslims afterwards. And how eventually, after the Caliphate of Ali, which was the most tumultuous of all of them, not because of Ali, but because of the people who Ali or the Otara who have to govern, you will see that afterwards, Hassan or the Otara, whose reign was very short, he looked at bring peace between the Muslims and eventually, peace was born. So inshallah, next week and the week after, we will look at the Caliphate of Ali or the Lord Ta'ala, and again, we consider the Caliphate of Hassan, a very short Caliphate, which is like 6 months. Hassan of the and who gave it up for the sake of peace. And he said that shall be man. Because of the fact that he gave it up. Now, any questions regarding this issue of what's up? I would say some. Like, for example, I showed the Lord as very good. Right? And somebody who went to the professor of order is something there as well. But you have, like, Hussein, Hassan, they look like outside of the but I don't know where exactly. People say the same right in Iraq, some say in Egypt, it's all kind of thing. So you actually have a big up Hussein up there. It's called Hussein Masjid in Egypt, but they say that Hussein was very good. So you want to call it on kind of say that. But my place in Iraq, they say the same very, so the same very, the same that. I will do that. And as for Hassan, I don't know exactly what he did. Yeah, what is it? Because the Tamil prophets didn't have these kinds of the with the Kufar and the Kufar and the prophets. They didn't have anything to do with the Tamil prophet was there. So if they had any issue between that, they would solve it with the prophets of the Lord. Anything else?
When was it that the Khawarij went to short faces?
Alright, that's another question. The Khawarij really began to show their faces during the time the last era of Rahman he started to really show up. And they already became more apparent during the time of So during that time we have the beginnings of the Khawarij as well as the Shia. Right? So the Sabbathiyya, because of Abdullah ibn Sabah, they both had, they will have had Shia beliefs, even seeing Aliyah Sufita and Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, and they would have had Khawarij beliefs, that they would have had certain aspects of the methodology of the Khawarij, especially in terms of the Muslim against the Muslim leaders and so, as a result of that, the beginnings of exhibit and the last period of the this is when it came. And it came as a result of some of the chaos that happened. Some of it was stirred up by, as you said, Abdullah ibn Sabah. And some of it was basically based upon certain misunderstandings that happened. As I mentioned with one of the happened, where it is that he sent a letter to the then governor of Egypt to execute these people, which were kind of like and he did not hold them. That happens with people sometimes. Around stuff.
But the vast majority of these houses were still being around.
Yeah.
During the time of Umar and Uthman.
Yes, correct.
So all these was the, we don't want to say the blasphemies. So many of them are around, yet still, it should have shown us the walls of the chaos and deception and grants. What about something like that?
But basically, now when they saw about the pandemic, they are human beings, right? And basically, what happens is that they put together in terms of their belief, their methodology, their understanding of Islam, they all agree upon that. But however, what happens is that when you have certain elements making deception, and they would go to this one, and then go to that one, and then go to the other one, and then after a while, we would bring people who were together. We would bring them to have disagreements. Basically, that's what disagreement happened. So, as a professor of he said, Wa'ana amanatun bi ashabi. Right? But I am a city for my companions. Right? And when it is that when it is that I go, whatever will happen to the companions, as promised will happen. Right? After ashabi ma'yumari. That like whatever will happen to my companions will, yeah, it will happen. But then he said, وَأَصْحَابِ أَمَنَةٌ لِأُمَّتِي. My companions are sitting for my ummah. Right? And when my companions go away, then whatever will happen to my ummah will happen. Right? So, basically, because the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was there, everybody could have went back to him for every type of judgment. And that was also what was written of Abu Bakr and Umar, by the time of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Because it has so much things that you were going to say that were wrong, and that they had people who were Munafiqeen who entered into Islam and were to destroy Islam, and they were going back and forth between the religions of Islam, and they were going back and forth between some of these Sahabas when I said to them, okay, this is what is happening, and something like that. This is what results in basically what happened here. Of course, one of the Sahabas that certainly participated in the prayer of the Quran, and none of them ever spoke ill of the Quran or ill of the Quran. But however, you find that, for example, when it is that it had certain issues, you would go to the Quran or ill of the Quran and speak to him and tell him, okay, this is not the current thing, for example. Right? At the end of the day, you know, when they don't tell at home, they know human beings. But whatever they agreed upon, this is what must be followed. Right? This is what must be followed. But whatever they disagree upon and they made the effort regarding the issue regarding, then there is always one who is correct and one who is incorrect. Also, not one who is best. But I mean, like in the beginning of every state or any country or any empire, it always has some type of what you would call bureaucracies. That in every era in history, never really happened. Obviously, it's too deep.
That means those people that stop growing.
Yeah.
From the time of Osman
Yeah.
it seems like it's better than that of spiral.
Not necessarily, you know, it had ups and downs. So, for example, when it is like having peace with between Hassan and Muawiyah in the battle. And for this reason, they tell Muawiyah himself the fire further because of the fact that Hassan was in power. But then afterwards, when they had the groups coming up, and they had some more dissension, and the Khawarij came back up again, and then they had the Shia coming back up, and kind of people. As a result of that, it caused more problems. And the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as a believer, he predicted that basically that rarely the door between Muslims and Fitna there is a door. And once that door is broken, Fitna will happen. And the Prophet will start and this is that door is open. So what about the Prophet at the night? He saw that happening, he raised up the door from the Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Into this day. But usually any empire that is now where usually has some type of games and conflict and whatnot until everything becomes settled down. Right? And that's basically what happens.
You really had a post-mod combination that you had chaos on the other side.
Yeah.
That is so. That chaos didn't stop during the party.
Yeah.
Right? There were more fitness.
Yeah, I'm okay.
And then after the party, even though we had a short window, but there was still fitness, there was still confusion, and that led to the
during of the Yazid from our
when they had it, I say, they should have said that they did it. So,
yeah, but that was our only popular itself because
Yeah.
people up to for the same, and then when it
tell us
was,
the Sahaba was ball on both sides.
yeah, but some Chinese Sahaba, they decided, most of the Sahaba, there's like very few Sahaba were involved in it. Most of them stay home and they're involved.
Is it that as from that they should not have just say on the side and they should have come out and walk vice versa? Stop it.
No, because what happened, they realized that it was policy. It was it snowballed so much that even they tried to do that, but didn't bother some of the elements. So, you know,
Then you read during Ali where you had Aisha and Sahabas.
Yeah.
The Sahabas were involved in the battle with candles.
With candles.
The wife of Rasul and Sahabas that war with each other.
yeah. But not like, I mean, not these Sahabas like about, there's like a few. But Muhammad, after Abu Bakr, and he said that he stayed away from that. And most of these Sahabas are staying away from it. Because it is a state of between Muslims. And he said, no, we're not getting involved in that as well. Right? Now, because they knew when it comes to war, there was a separate that these things that carry that whatever the fitna comes. A part higher than a part, right? That the person who's sitting is the one who's standing. Right? In other words, that it will have to. That's why you stay away from it. Because if you get involved, okay, that's not happening. You might want to bring about some kind of rectification, and it brings about more frustration. You understand? So that's what happens sometimes. You know, but at the end of the day, even with what happened with Aisha, we would see with the battle of the Jamal or the Camera, etc. like that, you will see that a lot of things that needs to be repeated as one. A lot of people who were African, who were hypocrites, they entered in the ranks to cause more deception. And that's what happens at the end of the day. And it's a lesson for the Muslims to show that number one, that the Sahaba of the Prophet at the end of the day, that they, although they are the best of generations, they were human beings. And they're not ma'asum, they're not best generation. So they have to do what is best in the interest of Muslims. Right? And plenty of it, as I said, is miscommunication. Because when Hussein went out, for example, so Yazid did not affect Hussein to talk to him. Right? And then a person who was under Yazid, he kind of played the fire, and then that's what happened. The same thing that happened with Abdullah ibn Zubair. When it is that during the time of Marwan ibn Abdul Hakam, that basically everything was kind of up in the air regarding who Muslims would be prior to. And when Marwan was walking away, he was walking away from it. A person told him that he wouldn't get back with your father or with your father's hand. So that's why he ended up fighting Abdullah ibn Zubair and taking him back and putting on catapult and the catapult hit the camera. That's all kind of happens down. Right? It was the Sahaba, they were Tara, they were the human beings. I mean, but of course, it's because of generations and because of them, the Wahi or the revelation was written. We have so many prophets who are able to most preserved. The only practice Islam was preserved, and also their Ijma or their consensus was preserved. So, alhamdulillah, a lot of all the things that all the pattern that happened with the Sahaba of the Prophet, and yet the day, all of it is a lesson for the Muslims to live. And we are also subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ones who made errors and reward them for all the day. Yeah, because it was affecting the cover. want to go through that one, I just want to go through you know, Yazid, but basically, Yazid was a bit oppressive. He was very oppressive. And what happened is that Hussein came up to really talk to him. Yazid, when he had that meeting to make some type of peace, but there was people in between who were rioting up for war. And that related to the Hussein when they were talking about you can remember the Muslim Empire was really big up, and they had people who were conquered who wanted the empire to fall. So, after that,
quite a number of times.
huh?
I say quite a number of times most of the shipping as well the Jews
Yeah.
up to this day.
Plenty times. Plenty times. Plenty times. You know, as in the case of Abdullah alright? He was a Jew.
And how we are infiltrating and getting their way.
Because remember, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in this case, the hypocrites were revealed to him. Because Revelation asked them who the hypocrites are. Ali radiallahu ta'ala and Uthman radiallahu anhu, they say so happened when it's not Revelation. Right? But I mean, all these conflicts that happened between the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala or happened during the time of the Sahaba or between the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala in some cases, it is a lesson. That, at the end of the day, if we have conflicts, we have to return to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, one. And number two, with these conflicts, we have to find a solution. And at the end of the day, if we were look at Hassan radiallahu ta'ala, although he was mostly the of the Caliphate, at the same time he did a pragmatic approach towards to have peace. As I said, every single empire, whether you look at the American Empire, the British Empire, the Mongol Empire, the Mughal Empire, the Sokoto Empire, the Bali Empire, you look at any empire, it always have some kind of hurricanes. Okay? Because remember, the Arabs were not accustomed to an empire. They were like all Persia or the Romans were accustomed to. I mean, people in Rome, they now had a lot of malice, intrigue, a lot of emperors, they got assassinated. That's all it is. As much problems as possible. of Ali, and he come even more outward, say that Ali is Allah and kind of thing like that. And Ali had to run down some of the members and he built them. As a celebrity, as a some of the celebrity, and then Abbas said in the tradition of the some of us said that most of the policies with fire, except for the Lord of the fire. Right? So you see after that, the Sabbath, we appear again that the partners get one and he was it. He gone. I see the Hajj appear again, they fight the battle of Nakrawad, and four of them fell the battle. So you see them. So these are the people who already cause a lot of dissension. And we saw our themselves in that, obviously, people are the people who cause dissension. But of course, as a professor also said himself, that when I am a man, you know, that doesn't mean that you get revelation. And I'm a man and I judge based upon what I hear. Right? And the same thing with them. They will basically judge and assess the situation based upon what they did from 60 people. And whoever was in prayer, they get one blessing. And whosoever was correct, they get two blessings. Wow. Because I need a little and you'll see a lot of stuff happening during that time. Stuff.